Hi everyone, Janie here. Welcome back to my garden and welcome to this week's coffee chat. So on these Saturday morning coffee chats, my goal for these videos is to get any information that I have across to you. Answer any questions, any announcements, anything that I need to tell you about the garden, the channel, the gardening community, just basically anything is going to be on these videos. And it's so funny, ever since I started doing these, I'm finding like, oh, I gotta add that to the coffee chat. I gotta add that to the coffee chat. So these for me have been really helpful because it's a way to get information across easily and not have to like remind everybody and bug everybody in the beginning of every video. I'm really excited because today I wanted to answer the questions that you all had about the Van Windens Magic Rose Mix. The Van Windens Rose Mix is a mix that I've talked about a bunch on my channel. I've used it on all my roses. My mom's used it on all her roses. It is incredible. It is the best rose fertilizer mix like ever. And I get a lot of questions. I get a lot of you emailing me and comments and all that kind of stuff, asking me questions about it. And one, it's not my rose mix, so I don't want to take credit for it, but also I realized I don't know the answers to a lot of those questions. So what I did is I contacted Aileen at Van Windens and I asked her these questions and she filmed them on her phone. So thank you, Aileen. I didn't have a chance to get down there before filming this video. So I will show you that in a little bit. First though, I have a couple announcements I want to tell you all about the channel and about Dig Plant Water Repeat. The first thing that I want to tell you is warn you that there's going to be a lot of videos coming your way, a lot of garden tour videos specifically. So one of the things that I love doing on my channel is garden tours. Basically going to someone's garden, talking, walking through the garden with the gardener, asking them questions, look at their plants, ask them about their plant selections. It is my favorite type of video to film, hands down. So I feel really, really lucky because now that I've done this, a lot of people know that I like doing those type of videos. And so I'm getting a lot of access to some gardens. So I have a bunch of gardens from Michael Glassman that he agreed to show me, which I'm so excited to see. The Pence Gallery Garden Tour is coming up in 2 weeks. The Pence Gallery Garden Tour is a garden tour in my town. And actually last year I was in the tour. My garden was in the tour and it was so much fun. So this year, I've actually contacted some of the participants and asked them if I could come film their gardens, and they said yes. So those are going to be coming. And then one of you, Mary, you contacted me. She's part of the California Native Plant Society, and there's a native garden tour actually today, the day that you're watching this. So it's in Sacramento. The native garden tour is today. She put me in contact with some of the gardeners that are going to be on that tour. And so I have a couple native plant garden tours as well. And then I met another landscape designer who is actually a Proven Winners landscape design professional. He's from the Bay Area. His name is Michael Galley with Metamorphosis Landscaping, and I'm going to be doing garden tours for his. In addition to all those, one of the things that I have wanted to do for quite a while is I've wanted to do viewer garden tours where I actually come and I actually tour your gardens and ask you questions and be able to show everybody else your gardens. And so I have one lined up, which I'm so excited. Hi, Melissa. So we're gonna be filming that one, and then I have another one that I'm trying to schedule, Caddy. So I have a bunch of viewer garden tours lined up as well. So anyway, what I just said was, I don't know, like 15 garden tours or something like that. So I realized that showing all of these would take up a lot of my days that I would be showing videos. And so then that means my garden doesn't get worked on those days because I want to try and film everything that I work on in my garden. So I've decided to put garden tours, at least for the spring, maybe summer, on Sundays. So I know you guys, that's 7 days a week of videos. I know that's crazy, but I just didn't know what else to do. I have so much great content to show you and I didn't want to take any of it out. And so I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to throw it on a Sunday and watch it if you want. They're going to be so great. I'm really excited. Actually, yesterday I filmed the first native garden tour. His name is Nick. Well, they're Nick and Sandy, and it's coming out this Sunday. So I just wanted to tell you all this so that you can keep an eye out on Sundays for garden tour videos. I will have a garden tour video every Sunday. I will make a playlist. It's going to be great, and then I can save the week for working in my garden and actually doing gardening. Heads up for garden tours on Sundays. Then the other thing I wanted to tell you, first off, is May 4th. I told you all about a May 4th event at Windtour Gardens in Redding. That actually unfortunately got canceled. You know, details just didn't work out, and they couldn't swing it, and so we're not going to do it this year. We'll probably do it next year, hopefully. So there is going to be no May 4th event at Windtour Gardens in Redding. I apologize to all of you who live around there. But I did plan another event with the Greenery in Turlock, California. I did a garden center tour of it just like a week or so ago, and I was talking to Jay, and we decided to plan a summer barbecue event. So it's going to be on June 15th. I don't have all the details yet. When I do, I'll let you know, and it will be on my website. If any of you have any questions about whatever event is coming up, go to my website, look on the calendar tab, and that will have all the information about the events that are going on in the Dig, Plant, Water, Repeat world. Then as for merchandise, speaking of digplantwaterrepeat.com, if you go to the shop tab, that's where you can buy a whole bunch of my merchandise. The pink hats, the mauve hats, did get restocked. So if you wanted one of those, go ahead and head to there and grab one. And then I just wanted to let you all know, first of all, huge thank you. You all are so awesome, and I sell out so very quickly. And so it's just really nice to know that there is a demand for some of this stuff. So because it sold out so quickly, I was able to get more. So we are going to be expanding the shop. We are going to be adding more things. I am going to be working with what do you call it, craftsmen, artists, all that kind of stuff, and be adding really fun stuff to the shop. So keep an eye out for that. Courtney and I are working on developing the shop right now. Of course, we're going to have all the Dig, Plant, Water, Repeat merch as well, but there's going to be some other really fun stuff, just beautiful, beautiful gardening related stuff. So I'm really hoping that it can become you know, just like a fun gardening shop, because we don't have enough of those. We don't have enough. So anyway, so keep an eye out for that, but the mauve hats are restocked right now. All right, you waited long enough. Let's send it over to Aileen, one of the store managers and one of the smartest gardening people I know at Van Windens Garden Center in Napa, California. She's going to answer some questions about the famous / secret Van Windens Magic Rose Mix.
Hi everybody, my name is Aileen. I'm here at Van Windens Garden Center, and today we're going to talk about our very famous rose fertilizing recipe. We get a ton of questions about this because everyone hears about it and hears how amazing it works. If you follow these instructions that we're going to talk about, you're going to have amazing roses this year. So let's get into it. Okay, so Van Windens' famous rose recipe is actually the creation of Gary Sampson. Gary Sampson was the manager here for a couple decades, and now he's still with us 1 day a week. He is retired, he says, but he does hang out with us on Sundays for about a few hours around lunchtime doing consulting. If you can swing by and catch him, you're meeting a man who has owned a nursery, had a gardening radio show, has been a manager here, has just a wealth of knowledge in his head. So it might be worth your time to track him down. But back in the day when he created this rose recipe, it was synthetic fertilizer based, and that worked great. However, more information came out and we learned what synthetic fertilizers actually did for our clay soils in Napa. And he switched his rose recipe up, and now we have an organic rose recipe. Organic fertilizers lighten up clay soils. They don't compact clay soils like salty synthetic fertilizers do. So we love this new fertilizer, and we have Gary Sampson to thank. Okay, so there's a lot of confusion about how much to give each rose, but basically anytime we publish this recipe, it is for one rose. If you have more than one rose, scale up. You can do a big batch and then give each rose one heaping scoop of a cup and a half or whatever it is that you end up doing. What I mean by that is if you can't find EB Stone organic rose food, you need to source a different organic rose food to create your own recipe. do make sure your organic rose food is alfalfa based. If for some reason it's not alfalfa based, get some alfalfa and do a half scoop of that in your mix. We love EB Stone because they are alfalfa based and it makes it so simple for us. We say 1.5 cups of EB Stone rose and flower food and 2 tablespoons of Sol Pomag, and that is what the current Van Windens rose recipe is. Okay, so as far as when to start fertilizing your roses, we recommend here in California, you start fertilizing your roses when you have 3 to maybe 6 inches of new growth off of your canes. This assumes that you have pruned your roses in the winter like you should have, and that, you know, the weather's warming up and you've got this new growth. When roses don't have new growth yet, they're not actually absorbing nutrients. So if you were to fertilize them, it's possible the nutrients might just wash away, which would be a bummer. So wait until you have 3 to 6 inches of new growth to start fertilizing. And then how often do you keep fertilizing? If you were to give the rose recipe to your roses, I want to say 2, maybe 3 times during the year, your roses are going to be amazing. If you do it just once in the spring, you're doing better than most people. You don't have to do it more than 2 to 3 times. Here in California, this part of California, I should say, you don't have to fertilize your roses much past October because we want our roses to go to sleep. In other parts of the country, you know, the weather is telling the roses to go to sleep. Here in Napa, we have to kind of force them to go to sleep. That's a whole nother story. But yeah, the first rose fertilizer happens when the canes are pushing out new growth 3 to 6 inches.
So Aileen, thank you so much. I know how busy you are at the garden center. It is spring, everything is in full swing there, and I really appreciate you taking the time to answer these questions for us. So head over to Van Windens Garden Center if you live anywhere near there. Talk to the staff. That's what's special about that place. I mean, it's a beautiful garden center, but the staff there is just so knowledgeable. So if you have any questions, you can just ask them. And it's like speaking to an expert gardener right there. I mean, it's just incredible. So thank you so much, Aileen. All right, let's move on to question and answers from this past week's videos. I have a couple questions that were in the comment section. I think some comments too. The first one's from Janet. Janet asks, Janie, I know you said you fertilize your annuals once a week, but how often do you fertilize your perennials? Also, do you fertilize your salvia? For some reason, I get so confused when it comes to fertilizing. Janet, I totally agree with you. If you live in a warm environment like I do, your annuals are perennials, and like, you know, it kind of just, the lines blend, right? And so, you know, Proven Winners sells Plain the Blue salvia as an annual, but it's actually a perennial for us. So do you fertilize it as an annual? Do you fertilize it as a perennial? Who knows? So the way that I always think about it is if a plant blooms like crazy, if the plant looks like it's expending a lot of energy and it's putting out all these blooms or all this gorgeous foliage, it might need a little bit of extra help, right? And so that's how I kind of think about it, because the reason why you need to fertilize annuals so much is that they're constantly pumping out blooms all season long. So if you have a perennial like that that's constantly pumping out blooms all season long, maybe it might benefit from some weekly fertilizer, some water-soluble fertilizer. So like my Homestead verbena is a perennial, and I fertilize it as an annual. I fertilize it with the water-soluble fertilizer once a week because it blooms all season long and it keeps pumping out blooms, keeps pumping out blooms. There's other plants that I will not, like the Nyphophia, I will not, the Russian sage, I will not fertilize, obviously. Any of my sedums, I will not fertilize. My Plain the Blue salvia, I absolutely will fertilize every week. So it's kind of, there's, you know, it's not a really straightforward answer. I would say kind of play with it a little bit, see how it is. If you fertilize something and you start seeing some browning around the edges, it might be a little too much for it. And just play with it. You know what I mean? Like you can't really mess it up, honestly. You just can't mess it up. This comment is just, I just wanted to clear things up, and I'm still even a little confused myself. This is when I was planting in my shade garden, and I planted some false hydrangeas, false climbing hydrangeas, and I was calling them climbing hydrangeas. And Inez says, hi Janie, Aaron the impatient gardener has a climbing hydrangea. Those take forever to take off, but I think the false hydrangeas grow a bit faster, as you can see have blooms already. You can see you have blooms already. And so I think what she's trying to say is what I planted was a false hydrangea, not a climbing hydrangea. And yes, you're totally right. They are two separate plants. There are climbing hydrangeas, this is the scientific name, and there are false hydrangeas. This is the scientific name. And I have to admit, I didn't know that until, but I looked it up and, you know, yes. But I was, what was I watching? I think I was watching one of Jenny from Gardening with Creekside videos, and she said that the common name for false hydrangea is climbing hydrangea. So it's commonly called that, which is kind of what I thought as well. So again, I don't think that there's specific rules about it, but I did want to mention that those are actually two separate plants, climbing hydrangea and false hydrangea. So thank you, Inez, I think. Thanks. So Auntie Patty asks, do you plan to do anything with the area in front of your fence, the street area? Yes, Patty, I am planning on doing something, and I would like you to watch Sunday's garden tour video because that garden tour, which was a native garden, I got so many fabulous, fabulous, fabulous ideas. I also get a lot of questions about having grass for Monty. Am I going to be putting grass in the garden for Monty? For one thing, I will not be putting a lawn in, it would be so hard to keep it alive with watering and all that kind of stuff, and I just don't want it at this property. But again, watch Sunday's video because this native garden had a meadow for their dog, and it was beautiful, and I am definitely doing it, and Monty's going to be so happy with me. And so anyway, watch Sunday's video, that'll answer all your questions. Proud Mama asks, Janie, do you use the same sprayer for your BT as your weekly Proven Winners soluble fertilizer? No, I have two separate sprayers, and I actually have a third sprayer if I'm ever going to use any type of chemical or anything like that. This is not necessary if you wash it out in between each application, and you want to do something called the triple wash method, which is basically you're washing it 3 times. So you fill it up, you rinse it out, you get it all clean, and then you do it again. And then you do it again, and that's supposed to be sufficient to get all the chemicals out of there so that it's not going to mix. I fertilize on Mondays, I spray BT on Tuesdays, and if I'm going to spray anything, you know, like Captain Jack's or anything like that, I will do that on Wednesdays. And so back to back to back, I don't want to be cleaning out a sprayer. I just bought another one, and it was like 11 bucks. So it wasn't that big of a deal. But no, I do not cross them. I never cross them. I don't even like washing my sprayers out just in case, just with fear that it would cross-contaminate. So along that same vein, the next question I have is from Marnie. She says, everything looks amazing. So excited to see it in a few weeks. Thank you, me too. Question, how do you know how much Proven Winners water-soluble fertilizer to put into the dial-end hose sprayer, dial-in hose end sprayer? You can put as much or as little as you like. What you like, I just put the whole bag in, or you can put a half a bag in. It doesn't matter, because the way that hose end sprayer works is that it just takes, as a gallon of water comes out of the hose, it takes a tablespoon of the of whatever's inside the bucket, can, container, reservoir. You know what I'm talking about. It takes 1 tablespoon out of there. So if you're low, if you only have a little bit, that's okay. You know, it just continues taking 1 tablespoon out as it goes. If you're using the Miracle-Gro one, what you want to do is, the way that one works is it mixes water in it as it comes out. So what you want to do for that one is you want to watch it, and once the water is no longer blue, no longer tinted, then you know that you're out. So if you're using the Miracle-Gro hose end sprayer, it's a little bit different than the Ortho hose end sprayer. So the Miracle-Gro hose end sprayer, you have to actually look at the water and see what color it is. The Ortho one, it will just drain out and you'll be done once it's empty. Next question is from Angela. She says, I'm in Ventura, California, which is Southern California, and a total novice, but I'm so inspired by your videos to get out in my own yard and plant and renovate. Yay! Do you have any site references for beginning gardeners that will help what zone I'm in and what plants are best? So Angela, what I would say is, go to a website like Proven Winners, right? Because we all love Proven Winners, and you can search by zone. So you basically put your zone in. Actually, at the Proven Winners website, you actually put your zip code in, not your zone. So you put your zip code in, and then you can either do all plants, just annuals, just shrubs, just perennials, and you just kind of scroll through and see what plants are hardy in your zones. And so that, to me, I mean, I've spent hours looking at all these different plant websites. I go on garden center websites, find a local garden center around you that has a website and see what plants they sell. If you have an arboretum around you, see what plants they grow. In Ventura County, you can grow anything. Like, it's just, you're so lucky. I went to school in Santa Barbara, so like you can grow anything there, Angela. So yeah, so I would say first start by going to like the Proven Winners website and searching based on your zone. If any of you have any other recommendations for Angela, please put them in the comments section down below. Next one is from JK Sampley. She asks, well, first she says, I'm so impressed with how far your garden has come in such a short time. A lot of hard work and effort is certainly paying off right now. Thank you, my friend. Yes, I'm very excited about it. So she asks, she says, I have areas in my front and backyards that I would love to do a no-till or no-dig method. Is it too late to get started, or is this something that should be done and started off-season? So my opinion on this is that it's not too late. You should definitely do it now. I did mine, excuse me, I did mine last fall, and I started planting almost right away. Now, the caveat with that is with the no-till or the no-dig method, you're putting 6 inches of compost down over your ground, and you don't want to use hot compost. So you want to use like well-rotted manure compost, or something that's been sitting there for at least 6 months, just so it doesn't burn your plants. A lot of people say that you need to wait for the wood chips when you put wood chips on, that you need to wait for it and you need to let them sit around as well. All my wood chips are like super fresh. Like I put them days after the tree was cut down and I haven't noticed any issues at all. No nitrogen deficiencies or anything like that. So I don't know, like I don't think you need to wait. I also didn't put wood chips down right away just because I didn't get them right away. But I would say the sooner you do something for your soil, the better. And the no-till method, like, oh my God, I don't want to become like a no-till, no-dig gardening channel, but like it's so good, you guys. It's so good. It is such a good method to use, and it works really fast, and I'm just so happy with it. Okay, so to wrap up this week's coffee chat, I can't even keep a straight face while I'm saying this. I have a question for one of you. So Cool Breeze Gardens says, great video. I also am not a risk taker, but my hubby is. For years, I told my hubby if we won the lotto, I wanted to build a house on Mackinac Island in Michigan. Years later, he said, we're going to do it. We did. Jack Barnwell did our landscaping. Risk can be very rewarding, but definitely difficult for non-risk takers. Jason, you rock. Yes, we need to see more of you. Can I come do a garden tour? Okay, everyone, I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you all have a chance to get in your garden today.